The train has come to a halt at a station. The husband is missing God knows where. But most importantly, the woman is sitting down on my berth, leaning over me, holding me by the shoulders, trying to gently nudge me awake while not disturbing her sleeping children. She looks me in the eye and she goes, हमारे पास ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं है. I didn't go to one of the more super prestigious Delhi colleges like a St. Stephen's or a Hindu. I went to Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam Shri Venkateshwara College. But I am on my college's debate team. And my debating team is going to go to Bangalore to attend this huge debating competition that all these big shot colleges like to brag about. As the Karnataka Mail sleeper compartment starts to leave Delhi station, my debating partner, whose name is also Dhruv, and will henceforth be referred to as Junior Dhruv, sit down into our bunks and start discussing serious topics like Article 377, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, philosophical topics like it's men and not women who need liberation. Until, of course, the gentle rocking motion of the Indian railways, accompanied by that taduk taduk soundtrack. And Junior Dhruv climbs up into his bunk to take a nap. Now, this leaves me to debate the pros and cons of not having the balls to tell a girl in college how I feel about her. I grab my spanking new pack of cigarettes, my Discman, and head to the smoking lounge. So there I am, puffing away on a cigarette, watching the countryside roll by, Jagjit Singh singing Jhuki Jhuki Si Nazar into my ears. From where I'm standing, I just happened to have a view of the woman who was sitting on the berth opposite to us. She was part of our group of co-passengers, a young family of 4. And of course, I immediately formed an opinion about them within seconds of meeting them. So the husband, he's like 35-ish, square-jawed, stern, full patriarchal, shirt button open, chest hair hanging out. He's probably a mid-level government employee. The woman is your average Indian housewife. They have a typical arranged marriage, cooking, cleaning, obligatory sex. And they're, for the lack of a better word, 2 offsprings. Now, as it's happening right now, between you and me, I looked in her direction, our eyes locked for a second, and then moved on. We've all been there, right? Caught awkwardly staring at a stranger for no random reason, and now you're looking away. You know that feeling when you're being watched? That feeling you get when you're being observed closely? Yeah, I got that feeling. Because 20 seconds later, I turn in her general direction again, and this time she is staring right at me. Her hand still gently stroking the hair of one of her offsprings, engaged in some random conversation with her husband. But there's no denying the fact that her eyes are locked on to me. Is she checking me out? Like that too with her husband staring right at her? And what should I do? Should I go with the classic well and truly trusted, like should I do that one? Should I do the one where I look away but then half smile and then... As I was thinking of the appropriate response, I also allowed the images of her that had judged so quickly earlier on to now be scanned at a slightly slower rate in my mind. She's almost twice my age, but not the least attractive woman I've met. As I'm thinking all these things, I realize I have finished my cigarette. And having mentally, secretly really enjoyed this attention, but not having done anything about it, there was nothing left to do except to, saunter back to my berth with as much swag as I could muster, sit on my berth and go to sleep. I'm dreaming. Voice calls out to me. हमारे पास ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं है. नहीं, हमारे पास ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं है, I reply. Life is short. Then suddenly 2 hands reach out. They grab me by the shoulders and they start rocking me back and forth and back and forth. Almost as if they're trying to wake me up. And that's when I did wake up. Light is giving way to dusk. The train has come to a halt at a station. The husband is missing God knows where. But most importantly, the woman is sitting down on my berth, leaning over me, holding me by the shoulders, trying to gently nudge me awake while not disturbing her sleeping children. She looks me in the eye and she goes, "हमारे पास ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं है." And me, lying there, pinned down on the berth, all I could muster up was a, "Okay." She smiles, leans in even closer, never once breaking eye contact with me. And then she whispers to me. She goes, "एक और cigarette है? है? एक और cigarette है?" Less smilingly, more urgent this time. I was like, I fumble about in my pocket. I take out my cigarette packet, fish out a cigarette. She grabs it, makes a rush for the bathroom, stops midway, turns, looks back at me. I know exactly what to do this time. I fish out my lighter. She grabs it, closes the bathroom door, locks it, and just leaves me there. Trying to think, what the just happened? And of course, now that I had a second to think about it, it all made sense. All of that had started happening the minute I'd pulled out my cigarettes. There go illusions of my magnetic charm and rugged good looks. All the woman wants from me are my cigarettes. Then her husband walks in, holding 2 cups of chai. Now he's looking for his wife. He looks at me for a second, looks away, and I'm hoping to God he doesn't ask me where she is, because I don't think I would have been able to give him a straight answer. Anyways, he sits down on his berth. She emerges from the bathroom. And ladies and gentlemen, I am witness to one of the most amazing transformations in human history. As I see her go from secret agent, cigarette grabbing person to demure housewife in her mid-30s. She sits down opposite him. And he's like, "कहाँ चले गए थे तुम? चाय ठंडी हो गई है." She was like, "नहीं, वो क्या है ना, मेरे पेट में दर्द हो रहा था इसलिए बाथरूम चली गई." Yeah. Right. I was trying very hard not to laugh, A, at my own stupidity, and B, at her amazing deception, and was rescued from this by Junior Dhruv, who had woken up by this time. So we went back to discussing the merits and demerits of the United Nations Security Council, and she proceeded to give more fictitious details about her mysterious stomach ailment. Then the train comes to another halt. This time, I get to see the part of the performance I'd missed the first time. So, her. "सुनिए, 1 cup chai." Him. "हाँ ठीक है, चाय वाले को बुलाता हूँ." Like, "अरे नहीं नहीं नहीं, पता नहीं उनकी चाय कितनी बासी होती है, आप प्लीज चाय स्टॉल पे जाकर उससे बोल दीजिए ना एक ताज़ा कप चाय बना दे." "बिना चाय का नहीं चलेगा क्या?" "नहीं, वो क्या है ना, मेरे पेट में दर्द हो रहा है और अदरक वाली चाय मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छी होगी." "हाँ ठीक है, मैं लेके आता हूँ." Dude's gotten up, not even made it halfway out the compartment. She's already staring at me and I'm staring right back at her. I have no idea what to do in that situation. Takes me a second to realize, like, okay, this is your thing. This is what you do. Okay, cigarette chahiye. I get it. Okay, fine, no problem. Cool, I get it. So again, take out my cigarette, hold it out. She smiles. She comes closer, leans in to take the cigarette, and her husband comes back. You know that moment when panic? Yeah, that's what happened. Because I had just have enough time to pull off that bad magician move, cigarette as in, and like, oh. But there is no denying the fact that me and this dude's wife are in close quarters staring intensely at each other. But again, she handles it brilliantly. Because she looks me in the eyes and in all seriousness she goes, "आपके पास paper soap है क्या?" I'm just like, "नहीं." And then she looks at her husband. She's like, "Oh, अच्छा हुआ आप वापस आ गए, वरना मुझे आपको दोबारा भेजना पड़ता ना paper soap लाने के लिए. Thank you so much." And he just, I have no memory of what he said in that conversation because I was just like sweating bullets. He was like, why? Yeah, picks up this wallet which he'd apparently forgotten and heads out again. We wait this time. Then I hold out a cigarette. I also give her a mint this time, so that she doesn't have to mask her cigarette breath and drink, thandi stale chai. And thus, ladies and gentlemen, Operation Smokescreen was born. Takes the Karnataka mail 36 hours to get from Delhi to Bangalore And every 3 to 4 hours, the train would come to a halt at a station. She would look at her husband. She would go, Suniye, ek cup chai. And I knew in our language, it meant, hey, ek sutta dena. Our whole operation by this time had reached such a high level of efficiency that we didn't really need to say anything to each other anymore. Aapke paas paper soap hai kya? Was the last thing she ever said to me. I have since then quit smoking. I have since then dated and been dumped by that girl in college. But two things haven't changed. I try never to judge someone, who they are, or more importantly, what they're capable of, based on an instant reaction. The second, of course, is that no means of transport, no matter how fancy or advanced, will ever capture the charm and character of a journey on the Indian Railways. Thank you so much.